What is up, my friends? Mr. Bud here. And today, I want to talk with you about something dear to my heart. I needed to start this session with a gong, by the way, in case you didn't realize. We were not able to film in the normal studio because there's like a construction project happening. So if you're going to have a gong in a video, you really need to make use of it. It's a rule. Remember that one. So in any case, what do I want to talk with you guys about today? I want to talk with you about one of the principles that is shaping my life as of recently. And it is an accelerator of growth and evolution. And that's going to make a really big deal for your life, because when you accelerate your growth and you accelerate your evolution, you actually move much quicker towards your desired outcomes and all of the results that you're going to produce. So everyone's goal should be accelerate growth, accelerate evolution, if you want to expand your capacities the most you possibly can in this lifetime. So everybody's familiar with the concept of having a mentor, right? We all hear, have a mentor, have a mentor, have a mentor, have a mentor. What I'm going to talk with you about today is actually having a self-mentor. And having a self-mentor, actually, as it turns out, is quite cheap. You don't need to pay as much. And it drastically accelerates your growth and evolution. Because most of the time when we go or seek mentorship, it's when we have a problem. I have something going on. Or maybe we're in some kind of committed program, right? We have a coach, we have this, we have that, which by the way, I have all those people as well, and they oftentimes are how I learn a lot of this stuff. But it's like once a week, or it's twice a month, or it's whatever. And so while that will drastically increase your growth and evolution over having nothing, if you're kind of just default walking through life, your growth and evolution path is kind of like this. And you're really waiting for like a big life event to happen. And then like life event happens and you're like, oh! And then you start asking profound questions about the nature of your life and the universe, and you get a growth uptick. And then you'll stay like that, and then, whoa, maybe another event will happen and you'll grow again. That's what most people do, and it's default growth and evolution. Then there's people that sign themselves up for mentors, and they kind of create a more consistent growth and evolution because those mentors are always forcing them to ask questions and think about their life and think about the results they're producing, think about their ways of being, their patterns, their habits, everything. But the fastest and most badass path to growth and evolution is self-mentorship, because then you create an almost instantaneous feedback loop for everything going on in your life, such that you can grow and evolve from absolutely everything all the time. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. And the basis, and I was thinking about this, I'm like, what is mentorship? What does it all fundamentally really come down to? And I think what it really fundamentally comes down to is the questions that we ask ourselves. And sometimes you can get great knowledge and training from somebody telling you how to do something. But I kind of call that training, right? I'm going to tell you how to do this, and you're getting trained, and you're learning the skill, you're modeling it, and you go do it. But mentorship is different. A lot of times mentorship, it's fundamentally really what questions are your mentors asking you. They're asking you something, and when you take that question in, you're thinking about it in a different way. Like a mentor will say, what has you stuck in your life right now? Like, what's your biggest challenge? How are you solving that challenge? What are the things that you've tried? What's working? What's not working? What are you not seeing? What's hidden from your view that's blocking you you haven't identified yet? How can you identify it? How can you, well, all right, let's do an exercise to identify it. That's mentorship. It's sort of asking questions to help us understand and gain wisdom into our own workings, the workings of the world, and our business and our life, and how pretty much everything works. So, self-mentorship at its core is really you learning how to ask those questions to yourself pretty much all the time. It's almost like a partitioning of yourself where you have a higher level wisdom self, a soul self, which we all have. All of us have the capacity for true wisdom and this sort of higher awareness, this higher self. And then there's, the kind of the lower self, and I don't like to use these dichotomies because they're ultimately not really true. It's all us, just us. It's just self at the end of the day. But it helps to understand, there's a lot of times in which we're confused, we're not clear, we're stuck, we're in pain about something, we're in struggle around something. And so when we're operating from that place, that level, there's a bunch of stuff we're not seeing. There's a reason why we're struggling. There's a reason why we're in pain. There's a reason why we're not producing the results that we want to produce. There's reasons. It's not like there's no reason. There are absolutely reasons, and they're just hidden from our view. We don't see them. And so the key is being able to ask yourself the questions that a mentor would ask you, and being aware enough that you actually can ask yourself those questions, that you don't need to wait, that you don't need somebody to ask yourself the really deep questions. And I'm going to give you guys a hardcore example right now of what self-mentorship looks like that can produce profound impact and results in your life. So, the higher you play in business, it's just kind of like the more random stuff that you encounter. And it's kind of like a jungle out there. Let's just say you're roaming through, there's wild animals everywhere. And so somehow I got entangled in this particular lawsuit, and I'm not going to give any of the details of this because we actually can't by contract. But let's just suffice it to say that, it was really outrageous. It was really something that was kind of predatorial in nature, and completely outrageous, fabricated stories, all this stuff. And I'm finding myself like, what the heck? Like, where did this come from? First of all, it's like, really, universe? Like, I need this in my life right now? Like, what the heck? Like, this is really painful, right? And my default come from place. When someone is attacking me, when I perceive that there's a perpetrator, and someone's attacking me, what I realized was, and I didn't realize this at the time, and this was hindsight, is that I actually go into a victim kind of mindset and complex. But when I'm a victim, I don't put on the normal, like, poor me victim or the this. When I feel like a victim, I get fucking pissed. I get like, you're going to make me a victim? Hell no, you're not. You're going to be the victim. I'm going to overpower you. I'm going to take you over. I'm going to fight you. You think you can fight me? I'm going to fight you. And it's actually this really dark place. And like, it's coming from like a lot of hatred for the other person, and like old wounds from like defending myself and experiences that I went through. And it traces back to really early in life. So anyways, I hire these extremely expensive litigators, and we go to town, and the battle begins, and it's, tat for tat, and, we're filing motions, and he refiles, and we're doing this, and we're doing that, and blah, blah, blah. Well, suffice it to say, long story short, I get the first month's legal bill, and it's $29,500. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? Why am I spending money on this? Like, this sucks. Like, what? It was just like this wake-up call of like, oh, something I'm doing isn't working. And by the way, the fight wasn't like backing down. Like, he was refusing to settle. There was all this stuff. So the fight wasn't backing down. And I was just kind of like, what am I doing with my life? Like, it was one of those moments of like, something isn't right. Like, I got it that like, actually I needed to change. There was something about me that needed to change. And I remember I was walking my dog. I was coming back from a walk. And as I started to really inquire in, I started to ask the question, like, universe, like, what am I doing wrong right now? Like, why do I have this result showing up in my life? Like, what's going on? And I got an answer. And what came through in that moment was that I realized that I'm coming from hate. That really, I hate this man. Like, there's a come from that's hate. And I was just like, oh, like, God, that's not who I want to be. Like, that's terrible. That's not what I'm about in this world. Even when somebody is like, I'm a victim and there's a perpetrator, like, no, I don't want to be like that. And I asked the question, what would it look like if I came from love? When I approached this man, approached this individual, like, what would it look like? And instantly my whole system softened, and I kind of felt this like, oh man, this person's actually hurting, like something must happen in their life. Like, this is a hurting individual, and I by no means want them in my space, right? I'm clearing that boundary. They're not going to be in my space, but they're hurting, and I don't want to make them hurt more. And the whole energy was just kind of like, all right, how can we make this go away? What do you need? That became the question, right? What do you need? Even though I felt, offended, all that disappeared when I asked the question, how can I come from love? And it's just, what do you need? And I'm not shitting you guys. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, there is a multidimensional connection. I don't know how, I just know it's there. I mean, actually, quantum physics has almost proved it. I mean, we know that pretty much everything is just one waveform of energy, and it's one giant quantum field. So we actually do know that virtually every single molecule in the universe is connected. So there's clearly a case for, multidimensional kind of change in a way. Like, I make a change within myself, and that change within myself actually impacts and affects the whole situation that I'm a part of, all the people that are a part of it. But I'm not shitting you guys. Within 48 hours of me making this internal decision, this internal shift in how I was approaching this, we had a settlement offer. And this was from somebody who was they were like adamant that I'm going to trial, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. 48 hours of the internal shift, we have a settlement offer. I mean, it was like almost unbelievable. That's one example. And since that, I've just been playing with this concept so much more in my life. And I'm asking these questions all the time now. If I feel anxious, I'm like, all right, I wonder what it would look like to actually have this experience without being anxious and still feel safe and grounded and calm and present and powerful. And it's like, boom. Oh, okay. That changes everything as soon as you ask the question. And so you can do this with everything in your life. I wonder what it would look like to approach this disagreement I'm having with my wife and not get triggered and mad at her and feel like our survival is at threat and just stay calm and collected. Whoa, what would happen to divorce rates in America if we all asked that question before we had, a hard conversation or whatnot? Like, I hope you're getting this, because if you really get this and you really take ownership of self-mentorship and you develop that capacity, that higher wisdom, higher level capacity to ask yourself the questions that you need in the moment to be your own mentor, you are going to rapidly accelerate your growth and evolution. You're going to have a freaking awesome life, and you're going to create the results you want to create. I'll see you guys in the next video.